Hello, everyone. Ray here. I wanted to create a video talking about how I got into Microsoft Leap program. If you don't know, this is a 16-week program that gives its participants real-world development experience. And I have had no real developer experience. Now, we'll talk about my history in the past, but I guess the reason I'm making this video is because I've been asked this question from some of the students I work with, which again we'll talk about, some of my colleagues, and I want to talk about this a little bit, and give some feedback on how you could prepare for this question or for this program, if you're looking into doing it too. First and foremost, thank you, William Adams, for giving me the opportunity to do this program. If you don't know, William Adams is he was the founder of this program. He created it. I'll create a link to some information with this video below. So you can get some more information and apply to it. So let's get started talking about how I got into the program. So let's talk about a little bit, actually, before we actually get to that, let's talk about my background. Now, I'm not traditionally trained. I'm not a software developer who's been traditionally trained. I went to school for music business and business administration, not even close to anywhere near software development. Now, when I was younger, 14, 15, I thought I was a coder. And what I might mean by that is nowhere probably what you think it is. I used to work on GeoCity websites. And if you remember, the GeoCities was a site that lets you host personal websites. So if you're familiar with it or not, look up Ally McBeal, the Spinny Baby dancing. Like, pretty much pages full of that. And I thought I was just so knowledgeable. I used to create alert boxes and a lot of prompts to present to my user, exploding GIF images and stuff, and it was crazy. I thought I was really cool. I remember when I was in high school, one of my teachers told me that computer science involves a lot of math, and I didn't think I was good at math. I had a teacher around that same time tell me, because the way I was solving my problems, I was solving them in my mind and not using notes, and I was using a form actually at the time of Common Core. They told me I'd never be good at math, so I distant myself from doing computer science or programming. I never thought I'd be good at it. Again, I was more of a creative type. I love music, I love drawing, and then being told that you'll never be good at math when you hear like computer science is all math, it kind of throws a wrench in your plans, right? So I grew away from that. I went to school for something else later on, and when I moved to Seattle, I was working at a place called Year Up, and this is a place that 16 to 24-year-olds can get their first crack at getting a real job and getting a helping hand to landing like a career-changing opportunity for them. And again, I'll post a link down to these programs below so you can give information to others. And I saw a lot of students getting jobs that I wanted when I was young, whether it was software development or networking or stuff like that, like IT work. And it was stuff that I was passionate in. And I was like, why not me? And mind you, I was like maybe 31 at the time, 31. And it really shot a fire into my butt. I really wanted to do this. So I quit my job, much to my wife's dismay, and I attended a boot camp, coding dojo, in Bellevue, Washington. This is a program, if you don't know about boot camp, it's an intense course that teaches software development. Now, coding dojo is one of the ones that stands out from the other ones because it teaches 3 full stacks within like 3.5 months. And it was crazy. It was probably one of the hardest things I've done in my entire life. During that time, I learned Mean, which is a collection of JavaScript technologies. I learned Python, and I learned Ruby during my time there. And again, it was hard. I don't want to say that any other way, because a lot of people think, oh, it was easy, it's only 3. It was one of the hardest things I did in my life. I went home in tears a lot of nights, to be very honest. Like, I was trying my best, and I felt like I was falling well behind. And long story short, we won't go into all the tears that I shed because of the program, but I was lucky enough to get hired on as a teacher or a teacher's assistant right around after I graduated. So I thought this was a great opportunity because I would be able to learn more before I actually got a software development job. So I spent time learning about my technologies I want to use. I was really interested in JavaScript and Angular, and I was really interested in Python. I really love those languages, so I spent time learning those. And then during that time while working as a TA, I got hired on as an apprentice, and then later on I got hired on as a full FTE teacher, so a full-time employee there. And I loved it. I love teaching. It's something that it's I have 2 or 3 passions in life: teaching or helping others, software development, and music. And this was a great opportunity, like to be able to go back and help people learn something that was a very hard thing for me to learn, and help them get a leg up too. So I did that, and since then I've done an MBA program as well through DeSales University, and I also have a concentration in that program on computer information systems. So not much. I did a couple database classes and web design classes with some Java classes as well. Not much again, but something that again helped me get a leg up. In addition to this, I've done a couple other training certifications, so you guys can look at my LinkedIn. I won't go over all that stuff, but I want to let you know I was not a traditionally trained computer programmer. By a lot of people do the 4 years at undergrad. I was not that person. So while I was working how I got into the LEAP program was while I was working as a teacher. And I saw this program come up. And now, working there was a lot of great students that came through the program. I won't mention them here because I didn't really ask if I could use their name in my video. But a lot of students from Coding Dojo were getting hired at the LEAP program and getting hired on at Microsoft like full time. I can't think of anyone that I know personally that has not got hired on for my program. So it told me a couple things. Like one, like our program at Coding Dojo worked. So I'm kind of giving them a shout out here, I guess. And two, this could be a great opportunity to get into Microsoft. It's always been one of my dreams to work at one of the big 3 or 4 companies: Google, Facebook, Microsoft, one of those big 3. So I still didn't feel really prepared, but I felt like this would give me my step to do that, right? So I applied maybe what is it now? March. I applied actually, 2 months ago, maybe, or like a month and a half ago, maybe. And I didn't think much about it. I didn't think I would get a call back. And sure enough, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I got a call back. And what they did was they offered me an opportunity to either come on site or do an online interview. Now, I was still working at the time, so I wanted to do it online. Again, I wasn't sure if I was good enough. I had a little bit of I don't know if imposter syndrome, like I wasn't like really sure if I was good enough at the point, but I wanted to do it on site, so that way I didn't want to invest a lot of my time into it, because if they turned me down, it wouldn't be like a loss. And plus I really love teaching too, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to leave that role as well. So I did an online interview, and they scheduled it one day back to back, so it was 2 45-minute interviews back to back. So when it came, I prepped. I was doing a few algorithms that I knew back to back, and then I had my interview, and the first one was more about my past, my background, my projects I've worked on. And again, mind you that I have not worked as a software developer, so my projects were like school-based. I had recently finished a Java class in my MBA, so I had like a tic-tac-toe game that I just finished. And at the time, I thought it was really good. I thought it showed a lot of core OOP concepts. A lot of things. If you don't know, that is not important. You'll learn that stuff in school if you do. Yeah. But I thought it showed a lot of core concepts and a couple of database stuff that I did for my database class, and a couple of exams I did for my Coding Dojo program. And he asked me a lot about that stuff, like what concepts that I did, what was so hard, like what was the biggest teams that I work with. And again, I'm going through this interview like, man, I am bombing it, like, right, like, because he's asking me questions like, what was the biggest team you work with, and I'm like, 2. Like you're a 3, like, you know, like I've not worked on like these big scale applications. He said that, like, you know, when you work with teams, you know, you can work with teams up like 50, 100 people, even bigger than that, and they'll work on a code base that's been around for many years. And I'm just like, okay, so this is not going well. So then after that interview, that lasted about 45 minutes, and he said thank you, you know, gave me a little information, and then I waited like 5 or 10 minutes for my next interview. My next interview came, and a little backtrack before this. Right before the interview, I was practicing reverse a linked list. Literally, like right before that, I was reversing a linked list because I haven't done it in a while. I knew it, but I was practicing that, and I wanted to do it recursively, so I practiced that a little bit and got it done. And I was like, okay, cool. So funny, I get into the interview, and he introduces himself. He's like, let's get started. Let's reverse a linked list. And I, knowing my personality, if you guys know me, I laughed. I laughed really hard, and I said, hey, I just did this like 10 minutes ago. I let him know, like, hey, it's a cool, like I can do it a little harder because I was, you know, do the recursive one. I could do a little different than what I did before. He said, cool, you know, it's fine. Go ahead and do it again. So I did it, and I talked a lot. So even when I teach other people, like, again, I haven't taken many software development interviews, but like one thing I like about some of the interviews that I've seen and have done are people that talk about their problem. And the reason I personally like that, again, you know, I'm not an experienced developer, but the reason I like that is because you can see if you can work with somebody on a team. If they can talk to you, if they can have a communication with you, you can tell if you're going to work with that person, right? So I talked about my problem. I literally talked about 10-15 minutes before I even wrote any code, and he was kind of smiling and doing this, and you know, then I finally wrote code. Code took me like 5-10 minutes because I talked most of it out. I diagrammed pseudocode what I wanted to happen, and like when I finally got to code it, he's like, okay, cool, like we don't need to talk about that, that's good, let's move on. Then he gave me a problem for taking a string of that holds numbers and operators. So like he gave me two, either a plus or minus, so numbers, and it will represent like a mathematical equation. So this is a string, not an actual operator. How would you make this happen? How would you think about it? And I, you know, again, I've never done this one I have never done. So I was like, well, I know JavaScript or Python has like a way to change a string into like an actual operation, and I was like, I don't know about JavaScript, but I guess I can just do it. And I started thinking about like collecting the numbers, and I won't talk about my whole procedure of how I did it, but I literally spent like 20-25 minutes talking out, came with like 2 or 3 different solutions, and I went with one. I think you can ask him. I think I did a really good job on that. I think I answered it. It worked at the end, and he told me it was really, really good answer. So again, you know, after that interview was done, I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to get a call back because of the way my first interview went. And even the second one, you know, I was like, oh, maybe he wanted me to write more elegant code, even though he didn't say that. You know, I was really like thinking that I didn't do well. And sure enough, I got a call the next week, and they said they wanted to bring me on. So, yeah, I mean, that's how I got into the program. So, it was, and I've been through a week of the program so far. Now, I'm going to make another video talking like journal each week, how it's gone, the things I've learned and stuff like that. So I won't save that for this video, but a lot of the questions we got have been like, what was the procedure? How did you get into the program? Like, what did you do? And also another question I've gotten, and which I will address in this video, is what do you think I should do to get into the program? Now, before we talk about that, you'll notice that there's a sign here and a couple of things here. I'm actually staying at a hotel very close to Microsoft because I'm waiting for our house to become ready. So we're staying at a hotel, me and my wife and I. So we'll be here for a while. So all the videos that I record will be probably here. And it'll be at the Marriott, I guess. So I'll try to give them a little hit. Maybe they'll give me a free room in a couple of months or something. Yeah, so like, what would I suggest you guys do to get into a position like this? I would just practice like daily algorithms, basic algorithms, practice them, really know them. You know, just don't memorize algorithms, like know them, know how to talk about them, and work on communication. I would say those are the 2 biggest things. Like, become that person that you want to work with. Like, you're yourself, like, right? Like, be a good team member. Don't act like you know it all, like, right? Because yeah, even me, like last week, and again, I'm gonna make a video about this, but like, I was writing code, and my teacher was like, "Oh, this is good, but you're not doing the things that you should be doing right now." And it's kind of like, "Oh, okay, so teach me, like, right? Teach me. I want to be the best." It's kind of like that Doctor Strange scene when he drops to his knees and it's like, "Teach me." Was kind of me last week, but never act like you're the best in the room. Work, communicate, and be eager to learn. That's something that I've heard at Microsoft employees a lot. If I can give you any insider information, so don't share this with Microsoft. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this stuff, but one thing they told me was they want to see growth. Like, right, they want to see growth out of their employees, and not even just growth. They want to see the hunger for growth. And that's one thing. Like, if I can say like about myself that I like exhibit like a lot. Like even now, like I am thinking about right when I get done with my MBA or doing this program, like what I'm going to learn next. So maybe they saw that, but I can tell you right now, just be hungry to learn, continue, because that shows through. Like your eagerness to be the best or the eagerness to learn more, that will show through. Okay. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm young at this, but I'm eager to help with anything I know. So reach out to me if you're looking to do this or what this program or programs like it. There's a lot of programs out there, so maybe I can help you with that. Okay. Well, that's been a video of how I got into the Microsoft Leap program. Again, I will make more videos about my experience during the Leap program in the next couple of weeks. I'll make one coming up probably tomorrow or tonight about my first week in the program. Yeah, and thank you for watching, guys.